Okay, I call the Cuyahoga County Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee to order. Clerk, please take the roll.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair, no one submitted any public comment.
If my committee would please take a look at the minutes. Do you have any questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays, hearing none, the minutes are approved. Please read the matter referred to committee.
Resolution 2022-0031, confirming the county executive's appointment of Mayor Catherine Gallagher to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission, representing the South Central Region for the term January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Law Director, I hear you have a proposed substitute to amend.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Sarah Namastill, Assistant Law Director with the County Law Department. We are proposing a substitute to amend the second and sixth whereas clauses regarding the appointment authority to clarify the appointment process and authority.
Thank you. Any questions on this? Yes, Councilman Miller, do you have a question?
I'll move we accept the substitute as the version before the committee.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, the substitute is now approved. Thank you for your help on that. All right, if we could please read the matter brought to committee. And you already did, so is there, I'm sorry. So may we hear from Director Pomerantz.
Thank you, Councilwoman Michelle Pomerantz, Director of Regional Collaboration. And I'm pleased to introduce and nominate the following individual for appointment to the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission: Mayor Catherine Gallagher, representing the South Central Region, for a 3-year term extended till 12/31/2024. And both Mayor Catherine Gallagher and the Executive Director of the County Planning Commission, Mary Serby, are here for questions.
Thank you. So Mayor Gallagher, please step forward.
Good morning. As
Thank you.
Michelle stated, Mayor Gallagher from Brooklyn. I appreciate County Executive's nomination of this position. As you probably all realize that planning and zoning is such a vital part of our local communities and for the county. And I've seen that over and over again. I took pleasure of going through the master plan process with the county for Brooklyn that was adopted last year. We use that regularly to secure grants to push out those initiatives, as well as in our budgeting. Every year we rank our priority capital budgets, looking at that in our strategic plan. So I've gotten to realize how the planning, even in a first-ring suburb, is so important to flip what we're looking at. And also with working with other communities, I've sat down with Jeff Vesprey from Old Brooklyn and Parmer Mayor DeGeeter, and we sat down, we applied for a grant with the county planning to do a joint project looking at the Brook Park corridor. So working collaboratively together and looking at the county as a whole is just so important to looking at long-term investment, not only for our residents, but for our businesses, so we can continue to grow and expand.
Great, thank you. Any questions for our mayor? One from, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. To my colleagues, the nominee, I just want to say I have the privilege of representing the city of Brooklyn, and knowing the mayor and how hard she works, there's nobody better for this spot. And I want to commend our county executive for offering a tour, and even more, I want to thank you for accepting. And I know I'm getting cut off now. I love it. I just want to say thank you, and I know you're going to do a great job. And if we can help down here, please let us know.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, I think we're all in support, so thank you very much for
Thank you.
giving up your time. All right, I will make a motion to move this item to the full body of the council, and we will do this for second reading suspension, given that the time has already began.
Second, and can you please add my name?
Yes, second by Councilman Sweeney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing any nays? Thank you, I appreciate it. Congratulations, and thank you for your,
Madam Chair,
yes,
may I also please have my name added?
absolutely. All right, if you would please, clerk, read the next item that was referred to our committee.
Resolution 2022-0032, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Archives Advisory Commission for the term December 1st, 2021 to November 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Director Pomerantz, if you would please give us some background?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to Cuyahoga County Ordinance Number 0214-0028, Cuyahoga County has established an Archives Advisory Commission. This 9-member board promotes the identification and preservation of historical records and ensures access by Cuyahoga County and the general public. On behalf of the county executive, I am pleased to nominate the following individuals for reappointment to the Cuyahoga County Archives Advisory Commission. Kenneth Bravo for a 4-year term that extends until 11/30/2025. Chris Garrett, a 4-year term that extends to 11/30/2025. And Isabel Klein, who is also extended till that date of 11/30/2025. All these recommendations are here today, as well as Judith Satina, who manages the Archives Board, for any questions you or the members of council may have.
All right, if the three that are interested in being on this Archives Advisory Commission, would you please step forward? Just a chance for us to meet you, and thank you for your continued service, as this is a reappointment. Anyone have any questions for those that are here? Councilman Sweeney?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you for your service. And can you tell me a little bit about the archives? Because when I was on Cleveland City Council, once I went down and visited, it was just mind-blowing how much stuff was saved and all the history that's in this one room, and the people that take care of it can find it in 2 seconds, and how much interaction you have with the requests that come in and stuff like that. Can you talk about the archives for Cuyahoga County a little bit? Because I don't know much about it at all. You can take your mask off if you want to. That's up to the.
Of course you may.
But let me start by inviting you to come over for a tour, and all of your colleagues. But the archives is the official repository for county records.
Located here, or is it through the chair?
It's located. If you remember the old, it was the Halley warehouse. The county I think, rents that building, and there's space in that building for the county archives. But we'd love to have you come over and take a tour of it. There are all sorts of records there. There are court records. There are records from various entities. There are real estate records. All sorts of records that are used. They're used by genealogists. They're used by attorneys who are trying to show inheritance and those kinds of issues. It's kind of difficult to describe without actually seeing it, but
I look forward to checking it out. And the cool thing about it, through the chair, is if I ask you something, you'll know where it's at.
yes, well, the staff will know where it is.
I know, but
the commission doesn't do that, but yes.
But I'm just talking, absolutely, it's the staff and the thing, but I'm just talking to the board members right now. And
Right.
I assume that, so I wasn't trying to be
Right,
disrespectful.
and
but-
I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure the others, that, our interest is making sure, the legislation that the council passed for the Archives Commission is to make sure that we continue to improve and make sure we have the very best available in county archives. That's our role.
Thank you for it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anything else from the two that would like to say anything? Just your chance to chime in if you'd like. We know that you're there and working hard.
Hi, my name is Chris Garrett. In addition to what Ken had just described for the archives, I have found it to be, in addition to all that, it's the local community governments that are benefiting from having the archives. They run into, the building departments, the mayor's offices, they run into any kind of issues where we need to go and backtrack for the history. And that within that community, we know we can go to the archives, we can pull that type of information.
Good, thank you.
So I am trained, my master's is in library science. My name's Isabel Klein, and I specialize in archives and records management. And the importance, I can't emphasize it enough, but the county archives, it is so essential to the function of county council and all that my colleagues here have said. And it's an invaluable educational tool as well for the community and teaching history, our community's history to all generations. So it's just been a real pleasure, and I hope to continue to serve. It's been invaluable to the community. So thank you.
Thank you. You know, the best part about this committee is that we get to meet the people that are appointed to the various boards that work hard and are quietly working hard and are there when we need them and there when we don't need them. We just, we appreciate all that you do. I want to recognize that Judy Satina is also here. And thank you for your work. And I know that you all work together to make sure that things are done as they should be. So thank you for coming. All right, any other questions? Yes.
Through the chair to whoever wants to answer. Have there been any incorporation of students coming from various schools to tour the archives building for a learning experience?
Certainly ask Dr. Satina, but I think COVID, the last 2 years, has totally changed. I see all of you with partitions between yourselves. And so there has not been as much going on at the archives. Just to give you a little history, all the three of us were appointed 4 years ago. There are two other appointed members. It's a staggered term situation. And the archives had just moved into that building. And so the first year or so we spent getting organized. As we were a brand new commission, we needed bylaws, et cetera, et cetera. We did an open house of the building. The county executive came, did a ribbon cutting, and we were just kind of getting going with those kinds of activities to encourage groups, genealogical societies, whoever wanted to come and reach out to them. And then COVID hit and turned everything on its head. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And so certainly those are the kinds of things we would like to see moving forward. But, we're all here wearing masks, et cetera. It's kind of hard to do that right now. But certainly those are the kind of things we'd like to see happen. We want the archives to be higher profile so that people know it's there. And my invitation to councilmen applies to all of you. Please contact Dr. Satina, come over, take a tour. I think you'd be very impressed. And, there are things, obviously, that probably could be improved and done better, and we need more money to do that. Again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but please come and see it. And certainly school groups and other kinds of groups is a great idea once we have the ability to do that.
I also work at Cuyahoga County Public Library at the Warrensville Heights branch, and I'm the head children's librarian there. So I work closely with the school district, and one of my goals is always, and one of our goals and missions is public programming. And I think that would be something dear to my heart, but also really important to teach our kids history and have them learn about how to do research and learn about their community. So it's something that we've definitely talked about, and I have feelers and ideas about kind of how we can collaborate with our school districts and the county to kind of bring our young people in. So thank you. I don't know if that helps answer.
It does, and as we see hopefully the end of this pandemic and move into a more normal way of life, you will see that those will come back, and it sounds like you're prepared for them to come back, and we look forward to what it is that you do to help them. Thank you very much for what you do. Is there any other questions?
I have a question for Dr. Satina.
Yes. Would you please come forward? And thank you for being here today in support of your colleagues.
Good morning.
Good morning. Through the chair to Dr. Satina. It was mentioned that you always need money. Was there any funding needs? I don't remember this past budget if there was.
Well,
any
currently we have for this year $470, which is to cover office supplies. So we do not have any other, line items. They're basically for staff, for the lease payment, and also I think for space maintenance. So that leaves $470, which will be available in the current year and then the following year, the second year of the budget. So right now, I believe there's an effort to see if there might be a few dollars that we might be able to expend, but right now that's the current situation. And certainly one of our needs is to allow the archives to move into the digital age. And there has not, we lack the equipment and staffing so that it would allow us to make information available, particularly could be on the county's website, so that we are not in a situation of having a very large collection of paper documents that are not backed up on any other media. So we've been sort of behind the 8 ball, and that's largely because we don't have the funding for that. But we've been moving toward it, and thanks to the Advisory Commission, there is a small subcommittee who's currently working on that to see if we can sort of work around it. We've benefited from the Latter-day Saints Church, which has done some microfilming and also digitization. But when your records are scattered on a variety of different websites, we need to have them either in a more robust webpage so that, some of that information could be more immediately available. There are other records, obviously, where people do need to come in to use that type of documentation, but it certainly would be helpful. And I think we feel very much a sense of the world sort of moving forward. And, we're actually in the 19th century for most of the time, rather than, in the 21st century. So that is a particular area. We don't have a large staff, but that is, I guess, understandable. We do have, this year we had paid interns, and I'm forever grateful. Very well. We have a PhD candidate who's a current. We have another intern who recently got a job. She has a degree in library science. And I had one enterprising high school student who was on his way to William and Mary. And so he spent time during the summer. And they help us to be able to do some of the work that the small staff who is constantly engaged with the public, we get maybe 70, 60, 70, 80 requests for information on a monthly basis. We do records management work. We work with the offices and agencies to maintain the retention schedule. So we have a fairly full plate. So they have allowed us to, to move forward. And this fine commission here is always moving in the direction of advocating for the archives. And, I hope that in the future, people will be listening to what they have to say. And because of their support, we're really very grateful.
Madam Chair.
Yes, that was a great
through
question.
the chair, is there a dollar amount that you think this digitalization would cost, and who do you send your budget requests to, so I can?
Well, it's through the Department of Public Works. I really wasn't part of any sort of budget effort. I just found out this is the money that you have. And I've recently had more full and robust conversations after the fact. But it's not sort of a sense of, what are your needs and what can we do to help you? It's basically, this is what you've been
That would be a
allotted.
one-time, right? So that would be a one-time request in terms of getting
I would,
everything digital?
I would think so. And we're looking in a variety of, we were hoping to get some really nice scanning equipment. I know it was quite expensive and it was far beyond the county's ability to fund at this time. But if it would allow us to, we have, and I don't want to take your time, we have many large bound volumes. And on occasion, we have to produce copies of the original records, and they don't fit onto a copier, which is an ordinary office copier. So we needed something where we perhaps could then go ahead and scan those documents. We get several requests for people who are seeking dual citizenship, and that means we are looking for birth records, death records, naturalization records that go back to the 19th century. And so they need, an actual original, copy of the original. So it's very difficult, and we're also doing damage to the records because they are not, the copier is not equipped, and we're not doing the copier any good either. But, so again, with the cooperation of the subcommittee, we've been even thinking about having someone come in as a consultant who could, for a certain dollar amount, would be able to take a look at what we have and then perhaps suggest ways in which we can be moving forward. This is something I've been here many, 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 many years, and I have been aware of this for a long time, but there's just minimal funding, although we are certainly grateful that we are in our building. Actually, we're at 3951 Perkins Avenue, so that's at the corner of Perkins and East 40th in Midtown. They did a wonderful job on our third floor. We've got new shelving. We had, like 75-year-old shelving before we moved. And we are, so pleased with the space that we've been allotted. And so we're grateful for the funding that was necessary to do that. But we have to continue to do our work, and we can't, have it limited to just sort of standing pat. And as you go forward and we think about succession planning, and it's really important that this is going to continue to move forward, and that, it's not going to have a very satisfactory ending. But those are certainly my comments, and I think my staff would agree, as would our commission.
Thank you for that, and great question. I'm glad that you asked it. And, as you stated, you start with a subcommittee, and then if a consultant is needed, but we do need a dollar amount.
Right.
So I would suggest, probably my colleagues also, that you bring forward when you do have that dollar amount and let county council take a look at it. It certainly can't hurt. And you've made a very strong argument, so I appreciate that.
Now, how does one present it directly to council? To whose attention does one?
I'm going to refer to
Yeah, you can
Councilman
go
Miller.
through Councilman Miller, I would.
So I would suggest that you send it to the council president and to Joe Nani, the chief of staff, and to Trevor Mackler, our finance person, and to me.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Councilman
Given your
Miller.
comments today, we will look for that. And when they bring it to our attention, we'll be knowledgeable more than we were before you
thank
spoke
you.
today.
Thank you very much. It's really much appreciated.
Madam Chair, may I
yes.
ask a follow-up question?
Go right ahead.
Madam Chair, Director, suppose that what you're talking about came to be, and that you had enough staff and and the technical resources to create digital copies of a good number of your records. My question is, to what extent would you then be able to discard the physical records, or would the physical records still have to be kept, and the digital version would be in addition but not replacing the original physical
Yeah,
records?
no, that's a very good question. I think it would depend on a judgment and assessment on its historical value primarily, also legal value. There's 4 different values that are used in appraisal. So you have, a fiscal value, and you have a historical value, and an administrative value, and a legal value. So there may be, if you have the original county commissioners' journals, which are among the earliest of our records, which went back to 1810, June the 6th, and we have the original marriage records that date back from the same year, May of 1810. So you would probably want to keep a certain number of those original records because of its overarching value. There may be some other records that would be useful to have in a digital format, but if they are have less, sensitivity as actual historical documents. So I do think that you probably would be able to probably eliminate some of those records, but it would have to be kind of on a case-by-case basis. We'd also have to make sure if we only have digital copies, and we would need, for example, a copy of an original record. For example, I'm finding that, an 1890 naturalization record can be very important one way or the other to whether an individual can claim dual citizenship. In the past, that's been primarily Ireland, I think, Italy, Slovenia. So there are various people who are becoming aware of that, and they have to figure out who in their chain of ancestry, whether or not they were citizens. So, but I do think you'd have some reduction of the actual. Also, you may have fewer things coming into the archives as other county offices and agencies are more and more turning to digitization. That's not totally. We have a lot of records. We have the 3rd floor and part of the 5th floor. And, this 32 boxes, 150 boxes. So records are, and they're the more current records that are coming in on a more regular basis. I think our historical collection has been somewhat static. We do add other items. Most recently, we received a plaster cast of the statue of Thomas Jefferson, and that was the prototype for the statue that now stands in front of the county courthouse. And we received that from the Art Museum of St. Louis, and they happen to have that particular architect's, some of their work. So, so we get some interesting things that, do come our way. But it's also dealing with the more temporary records, too, that we would not really want to, digitize. I would not, make that kind of a decision. So I don't know if it really answered your question, but
Yeah,
I think there'd be some.
I think you did. That helps. Okay,
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I think $470 is just going to be ingrained in my brain now. I was going to say 470,000.
As in mine.
But it's humbling and beautiful. I'm trying to figure out how to describe my feelings right now.
Yeah,
The history of the county and the people of the county are in your hands, and whatever we
That's-
can do to help you.
Well,
heard
thank you.
the
Thank you.
eye-openingness of
Right,
what we
right.
just heard from this
yeah,
individual 5-member committee was
right. Yeah,
Chairman of Finance just share with you to work through the council president and the chief of staff and our budget person.
Sure.
But as you go, I don't mind being one of the guys or council people, hey, we just submitted it. So I'll keep it on my radar screen.
Oh, well, very good.
I look forward, most importantly, is to have a big ask of you. And it's a hard one. You have to get me over to your place.
That's right. I mean, I can send you an email and a formal invitation whenever you're able to stop by. We are our researchers, and Councilwoman Conwell mentioned about having students come in. Our regular researchers we are doing on a appointment basis. We're still trying to, maintain the COVID protocols, but we still do have people coming in, and a lot of people are doing the history of their home, and that involves using 19th century tax duplicates, plat maps, real estate appraisal cards. So that is a frequent request where people are often coming in to work on that.
If I get sidetracked, then you just say, hey, Sweeney,
Hey,
stop by.
stop by. So, all right, all right.
Thank
Okay.
you, thank you. Any other questions?
Just a comment, Madam Chair, the history of the Archives building, it's very imperative to digitize, I feel, our county records. I mean, there's issues of fire or anything like that. We really need to move in that direction, and I'll share later off the cuff of how we got here today. When she speaks of the new building that we're in, I've been blessed to, both buildings have been in my district, but it's very important, and I've been
We
to
did
the
like
building.
our building very much on Franklin. It was an 1874 Victorian structure, and it was wonderful. The ambiance, I think all three of the members here, two of whom have been interns and volunteers. Ken was a researcher. And although it had great character, it had great limitations. And the space that we have, it can now be used more productively. We had a warren of little rooms, and it certainly wasn't, it wasn't ideal. Although people loved the building, but this space now is allowing us to do a lot more. And the last thing I'll say is once the pandemic lessens, we're still hoping to have public programming. And we have an area that can be set aside for that in our multipurpose area. And we would invite various individuals conversant in, history and correlated topics to come in and speak to the general public and make it a Sunday series. So we're hoping, and that obviously would be free of charge. We have the hardware in order to do this, but right now, we need a safe atmosphere so we can welcome people in. So I will let everybody know when that comes to fruition.
Good.
So.
Well, I think we really appreciated you coming forward and meeting your board, and certainly I think we all heard a story that perhaps we hadn't heard before. I hadn't heard before. I think what you do, and speaking of fires, of course, we need to really protect what you're doing and the records of the history of this county. So,
Well, thank
All
you.
right.
It's most appreciated. Many times there are folks who really don't know what we do or don't think it's very important, or there's just no way, except as was suggested, to come in and to see what's here, what kinds of requests that we receive. And I do receive it from the county as well, which involves going back. I had a recent request, so I'm back now in the 1970s commissioners and administrators' records to look at the origin of a particular association. So in any event, it's not just necessarily your great-grandmother, but it is also in sort of the more recent past. So that's another thing to mention.
well, I think we're all thankful that we had the opportunity today to confirm these appointments, and that we learned a little bit more about what it is that you do. And I think we're all strongly encouraging you to engage that subcommittee and put together something that we can review and engage in with back to you on. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Councilman Sweeney, did you have any last words? Okay, thank you. So this already started, this confirmation, December 1st. So I would like to make a motion to move this item to the full body of the council for a second reading adoption under suspension. Do I have a second?
Second, and I'd like my name added. Thank you.
Yes, I will add my name to this also. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? None? Your confirmation has been approved. Thank you. All right, we are at our final confirmation. And clerk, if you would please read that to what was sent to our committee.
Resolution 2022-0033, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Corrections Planning Board for the term January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024.
Director Pomerantz, would you please give us some background?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to announce the following candidates for the Cuyahoga County Corrections Planning Board. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 5149, the following individuals would be for reappointment: Chief Michael Cannon, Arthur Hill, and Dean Jenkins, all serving 3-year terms expiring 12/31/2024. I believe Chief Cannon is on the Zoom, and both Arthur Bohill as well as Dean Jenkins are here to speak to their appointments. Just a little background. Chief Michael Cannon is the representative that is required, a representative of the law enforcement community. Bohill, includes the requirement of an administrator of a halfway house serving that county or administrator's designee. And then for Dean, the ORC requires an administrator of a Community Corrections Act funded program in that court or any of the administrator's designee, excuse me. Those folks are here today to help answer any questions, and we're very grateful for their time and also for being here today.
Right, so if Chief Cannon on Zoom, do we have him connected?
I am connected, thank you.
All right, so we're going to hear you with your voice. Thank you. And Arthur Hill and Dean Jenkins, if you would step forward. Thank you both for being here today and for what you do. We certainly are appreciative of your work. So, committee, do you have any questions for our guests here today? All right, we'll start with a few questions I'm sure that you're prepared for. You know, we talk a lot about the area of bail reform, and I guess I would ask, where do you think bail reform needs to be improved? I know that's a big question, maybe just a couple specifics of what you think is needed.
So, Madam Chair, Bo Hill from the Salvation Army. I'm a very strong believer that the right intervention for the right person at the right time is critical, whether we're talking about those involved in the criminal justice system or those involved in the social services system. And so if bail is an impediment of getting the right person to the right place for the right intervention, then I think it's something that needs to be looked at. So hopefully that answers your question.
That is helpful. Thank you. Anything to add?
If I could add, I may start before we get to bail. I would like to see, I'm a graduate of Cleveland Public Schools.
Excuse me, can you go up to the microphone a little more? Thank you.
And I think we need to have more programming in schools and life skill education even before we get to the criminal justice system. But as it relates to bail reform in and of itself, I think we're headed in the right direction now by utilizing GPS and using the public safety assessment, making determinations who can be released and who cannot. I think it's a relatively new field, and using some new research and whatnot. So I think, it's a growing trend, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
That's good to know. And Chief Cannon, any comment?
Yeah, I'd just like to, we've been utilizing the new diversion center, and I think that's been helpful. Obviously with mental health issues out there, In lieu of charges, we've been able to use the diversion center, and frontline services has been invaluable for us. So that's a good start. Because a lot of times it's just more mental health issues than maybe a minor crime or something like that.
That's a great comment. And Chief, do you think the diversion center has an impact on our population in the jail? Do you see that our population in the jail will decrease because of it, or what are your comments on that?
It will because the F5 charges and some F4s or felony 5s, felony 4s are now able to go right to the diversion center. So they expanded it beyond misdemeanors. So I think it will increase. Part of my role is with the Cuyahoga County Chiefs Association, which encompasses all 59 suburbs. And, so that's a good voice. We're all on the same page. Anything I learned from the commission, I bring back to them, and vice versa. Any issues we're having, I can bring to the board.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Along with the diversion center, the impact of central booking has also been kind of front and center. Do any of you have a comment on that?
I'll go again. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Madam Chair, that's beyond my scope. So hopefully, Chief, you can answer that.
All right, Chief, if you may, I would appreciate it.
That's something that I've been in 37 years, and it's something I think would be a great asset for the whole county. I know they're in the process of picking a spot, looking for things like that. We work with Sheriff Violent down at the county. I think it would just help everybody, suburbs, Cleveland, to have a one-stop shop in a sense.
That's
it would
good.
Be something that we need to go to.
I think there's agreement with that, and good to hear you say it. Any questions from our colleagues for our guests?
Madam Chair.
Council.
Through the chair to Chief Cannon, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just wondering, from your perspective, do you think a youth diversion center would be a beneficial direction as well, since we're making this determination if we're going to have a brand new facility for adults?
Right. I do think, any type of diversion, as we know, kids' brains don't stop developing till I think 26, 27, something along those. So, we need to grab them young, and if we can shoot them in the right direction, I think any tool in a box is helpful. Obviously, there may be a small percentage that are, just beyond, but I think at that age, everybody is up for rehabilitation or set them in the right direction. So I would support that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, to my colleagues, I would just like to say that Dean Jenkins worked for me 30 years ago as an administrative assistant at City Hall. Just want to say that I appreciate all the outstanding service that you've provided to our community since then, and thank you for your willingness to serve. And also to say that I greatly appreciate and applaud the commitment that I've heard today to the notion that we should find ways not to have any more people in jail than we need to, and that people rarely come out better from that experience, and that all of the different alternatives that we're working on are definitely worth pursuing, so that we can have an attitude of finding problems early, getting people into placements where they can get put on the right track. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Deanie opened the door up. How was it working with Dale Miller?
I was going to step up, and I appreciate Councilperson Miller's giving me the opportunity. I think it's been longer than 30 years ago, Councilperson. We might be pushing 40 at this point. but it's been quite a while. And I think he gave my career a boost in the right direction that I wanted to be somewhere in public service and serving. And at this point, I'm open for some campaigning if we need to or anything. So I'm a phone call away.
There you go.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Yes, anything else from anyone? Well, certainly you hear that we are all appreciative of your work, and you too, Chief Cannon. We recognize the hard work you do out there, and I think you're going to get a unanimous support here to continue what you're doing. So given that this also is beginning January 1st, we're already into February, I will make the motion to move this item to the full board of the council for a second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, this has been confirmed. Thank you
Chief.
very much. We appreciate your work. Thank you, Chief Cannon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there are no other items brought to our committee. Is there any miscellaneous business? Hearing none, we are adjourned.